Hello everyone, I'm Anna. This is my feature poetry reading for Poetry Live. Big thanks to James and the MCs for asking me to do a feature. So I'm going to read from two of my books today. The first book I'm going to read from is called A Tender Moment Between Strangers. The first poem is called Stained. A tall spire reaches into the horizon like a stern finger. Scan left, a whitewashed cross. This one's not so rugged. Clean, unstained, a clinical crucifix, unblemished by dirty grace, sits with the condescending brightness above the chapel. Scan down, listen. Incantations, mutterings rise and fall within the walls, mingle with incense and fragrant offerings. The collared man with cloth and cymbals utters mysteries. The echoes roll through arched acoustics, an endless repetition through the ages. In the background, a lone figure stands, stained in glass. Stone. 1. How many yards of stone pepper the earth, each one etched in the summary of a soul? Their permanence is a stark contrast to the flesh slowly turning into peat. 2. This one's too precious to release to ocean depths. I close wrinkled fingers around its smoothness, recall your boyish skimming tricks from steady aim, proof even a smooth grey stone unhewn can be a taonga. 3. I never knew he had 2 Bombay sapphires for diamond settings. He kept the second one well hidden in his sock drawer. Maybe he knew the first one would leave despite her glittering promise. 4. I imagine all was hushed around the stone table, the day you set your face in flinted strength, all to save me from my own erosion. Thank you. This next one is called Karangahaki Gorge. From this vantage, he's a hair's breadth away from death. This tui sits oblivious in regal form. He's no magpie, but his ancestors would have seen this glitter in this valley all those years ago. I have no gold mining lineage either, but I'm no stranger to the struggle. My eyes follow the river frame by frame through a shaky tourist's lens. I feel disembodied at this height. I have to look down to remind myself there's ground under my boots. The next two are about two of my favourite New Zealand poets. The first one, Sam Hunt, he came to our school and he was one of the people who inspired me to get into poetry. So this is called On Reading Sam Hunt's White Gentian poem. In his poem, Sam Hunt rescues a flower, digging it up from some hillside tussock. He brings it down, smelling like the mountain. I've never smelt a gentian, or if I have, I don't remember what it smells like, but I can imagine. I reach into my kitty of memories and pull out the sweet jasmine, the rosemary, and the lemon balm that my sister and I blended in a ceramic cauldron as children. I allow myself to imagine the sweetness of the frangipani my mother wore in her hair at her wedding. I read the poem again. It's actually quite sad. He had resolved to tell his lover he was leaving her. I closed the book gently and resolved to buy myself flowers. And this next one is for Hone Tufuri, and it's called You Were Full of It, and it was great. You would probably laugh at my way of eating an orange. I approached the task in the same way I would write a poem, separating the segments carefully to avoid spillage. I don't like mess. Yuck. I wish I could be more like you, honey. You just juice your words all over the page, all that piss and inelegance, but how tasty. I worked at the Devonport Vintage Bookshop for a while, which was really cool, and just before, when I was a customer there, I'd actually written a poem about the shop, and it's called Wounded for a Bargain, Devonport Vintage Bookshop. On entering, I pause at the hint of a sneeze. Dust motes trail the air. The feeling passes as I cross the threshold with reverence for the salted minds whose actual and costly experience is archived alphabetically, alongside the spin doctors, South, this and that, their pages greasy with snake oil. I bang my big toe hard against the sale table. A face appears at the top of the staircase. Ta-da! Watch me! Watch! Are you talking about me? No one is talking. The tiny ego retreats behind the banister. I imagine Joyce and Kafka as children and wonder when their bubble bursts. The girl wraps the products of this wounding in brown paper, and clutching my bargains, I head out the door. This one is about New Zealand music, and it's called the Meandering series. Some of the names you might recognise. 1. If Aoraki was personified, who could be more of a cloud piercer than Aokiri? I've seen clouds disperse and sensed the bluest of clear skies above me several times as her voice rose delicately, my soul on the wing. 2. The best places to explore here are off the track, those spots that no one seems to have beaten you to. Lilburn, Knox, Nathan Haynes. Each leaves the weary musical tourist, stick, Cassiophone or sax in hand, towards that code you never knew existed, with so few human traces. Who knew there would be so many hidden caves to wander in? Like the West Coast Crooked River from the Southern Alps to Lake Runner, Phil Dadson starts from scratch, twisting erratically, then meandering to forge his own paths. 3. Hirani Melbourne and Richard Nuns found the rain and wind again. Have you ever heard the Hui Purewai? Beachcombers would delight in the carved albatross wingbone, half buried for all those years in the cultural sands. Melbourne and Nuns blew the sand off the ray and opened their kitties filled with all number of national treasures. If you listen carefully, you might hear the melodic sobs of a whale from a putatara held to ancient lips. 4. We inhabit the beach house in summer, familiar and sturdy as a Jordan Lark or Dobbin anthem. We laze under clear sky sun, then it's back to Legoland under the long grey cloud of top-water pollution. Now, this is about someone who wasn't part of the Poetry Live community and the Guerrilla Poets, an incident that happened in Aotea Square. The Guerrilla Poet, Murray Lee. He brandishes a piece of chalk in his hand, a silent sword in this war of ideologies. He stands on a sidewalk podium in this insomniac's paradise, a dream in his fist. At midnight, the boot of bureaucracy came down, and his poem hit the dust. Open heart surgery. Dad's emergency heart valve replacement, October 2003. They told us that all of his blood gets pumped through a metal box during the op. His chest is splayed open. I'm so glad I didn't have to witness that horror. The steel box pulses for him in perfect time. There's no skipped beats. He's wired, but he's not going anywhere in a hurry. His spirit is in limbo somewhere. Afterwards, his zipper scar is raised and waxy smooth. It runs from his navel to the base of his neck. He's permanently embossed. He's quarantined, but he's not infectious. It's more for his sake, for his heart's sake. But I'm too scared to hug him in case it bursts. Thank you. So that was reading from A Tender Moment Between Strangers, which is my first book, and I'll pop the link in the comments so where you can get this book from. And yeah, so that was that one. And now I'm going to read from my second book called Beatific Toast. San Carlo Bless. It's craft for Carnival. They've won awards for the best mosaics, the lovely ones, the sunflowers. Do you want to see them? Cafe Italia offers a slice of home. Families gathered, hunched around espressos sipped with shaky hands. Bless, bless, bless. It took me moments to register who the young boy was staring down at me in the chapel. The carpentry tools gave him away. Rosa gets a water bombing over in the garden. Gaz bugs the young ones, the pretty ones, the carers. Rosa, e bella, bless. Around the corner there are chickens and a shed for secret men's business. Bless, bless, bless. This next piece is called The Conductor. The notes on the Shenandoah score could be tiny archipelagos, my eyes blurred by tears. Away, you rolling river. I want to drift silently to some remote locale, but our conductor Cara says always sing through the phrase. Some of us find stoicism more difficult. Grease water, a semiconductor, metallic tears, electrons like stray notes. Cara addresses the soprano in the second row. Please refer to the score. There is a snag executing the trill. The orchestra is well versed in melancholy, strings taut to avoid spilling, stray harmonics, dead giveaways. A psychotherapist says attunement is listening to the sound of the breath. There's a staggering of the phrases in the Shenandoah. Across the wide Missouri. I hear a shudder in my breath somewhere in the second bar. I am struggling to compose myself. Grief is a resonance with the first cello. A therapist might say to compose yourself you must learn to conduct. When rehearsal is over, I wipe the tears away. Rivulets of water fall from my fingertips. I imagine the choir alive before me, electric with grief's music. I will be the conductor. Away, you rolling river. Thank you. What's next? Hungry Jack's Sated Poet. Now, Hungry Jack's is the equivalent of Burger King in Australia. At Hungry Jack's, I am reading poetry about church architecture. With my free hand, I am devouring a large hash brown cheeseburger combo. I want to find the most impenetrable poems, deciphering them using Google, but I am distracted by the Chinese girl, those fur-topped boots. Beyond me, through the window, a hive of students hump-packed the traffic drones. The caramel sundae is cold, the toppings sparse. I scrape at the plastic, ignoring golden trails down my coat front. A man with fistfuls of fries obstructs my window vista, so I turn to matters at hand, the last syrupy drops of Coke on my tongue, a liquid poem. And on that note, this is called Coca-Cola with Feeling. I have 2 poems about Coke, so they might as well sponsor me. Product placement. Coca-Cola with Feeling. Flashes on the screen. Get a close-up of those lips. This is how they show us the genitals, parody of arousal. The model feels, holding the stem just right. In the boardroom, they debate the angles, lengthen the neck, pinch in the waist. A win for all the sexes. Hourglass figure bottle has essential phallus. At the art opening, he sidles up to me, fondles his beer. Stroke it, he says, but I politely decline. Man wants Pepsi. Man wants Pepsi. Hang on. Sorry, guys. It looks like I'm not going to read that one. This one's called The Divine Master Chef. Your puttanesca is a revelation. The story it tells with those capers. Audience hush. The judge closes his eyes, not sure if it's a rapture, a subtle hand on the Buddha belly. Voiceover. Will Claudia's prayers come true today, or will she be going home? Eyes are closed, glued to television sets. We wait for the utterance. Will she be saved? The revelation awaits its appointed time slot. Do the contestants continue to bow, scraping bowls of leftovers during the ad breaks? Max's offerings are detestable and everybody knows it, including the armchair disciples. If only godlike features could get you the revelations Claudia dishes out. Sorry, mate. Now comes the final judgment. Terence has paid for his sins from episode 4, an undercooked souffle and a brief visitation from the fire brigade. I am still having visions of collapsing macarons from season 1, a slow motion fall from grace on the trestle table. Now the music swells, signifies the final word. What will he utter, the faithful wonder? Hands in supplication. Wait for it, wait for it. Divine! The word is divine, absolutely divine. While we're on the topic of food, the title poem of this book, Beatific Toast, is called On the Blink. Some of you might relate to this. It would be a miracle if appliances worked for us as intended. The toaster is fiery, red, this morning's anger is burning in my guts. The 5-seeded bread is dark, this morning my mood ring is burnt. I want to see the face of our Lord, but my toaster is not working. Sometimes I forget to plug in the toaster. I have no fire extinguisher. Where is the Vegemite consolation? Where is the butter soothes burns? All I have is marmalade. We all know what that means. The desire for vengeance is sticky. Business is slow. All I want, comfort and toasting. The toaster is red, blinking. Humiliation, tears at breakfast. Well, no one's perfect. Vengeance aside, the bacon is cold, sweaty. There will be no toast today. I want to see the face of our Lord, but my toaster is not working. Just keep on blinking. Just keep on blinking, why don't you? So I'll do one more. This last poem is called Tai Chi in the Underground Car Park. I don't have time, maybe I'm too polite, to linger staring at her there. I close my eyes, mimic a camera shutter. At the entrance, a lone photographer in the eye of a hurricane of traffic. On the tram to work, the image develops. The first thing I see, a pink tracksuit almost hurting against the concrete. I empty my mind, create a cavity, park anxious thoughts into vacant corners. I walk myself through her movements. Water. Claim the right to take up space, but don't resort to the back of the hand. Fire. Breathe out like a dragon. Calm. With stealth release your anger. Flicker hot pink and orange, fizzling against the concrete. Wind. Plant both feet. Sweep your arm across, push against heavy air. Resist with gentleness. Earth. Step with purpose. Your feet have roots. Feel the gravity of your steps. I see the final image, a temple on a hill, cars, supplicants in rows, observing the dance. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be the feature at Poetry Live, and as I said, I'll put both the links to both of these books, Beatific Toast and A Tender Moment Between Strangers, into the comments, and I look forward to seeing you all when we come out of lockdown. Thanks again. Bye.